First of all, this weekend I want to talk about Michael Olise from Crystal Palace. He's a true star of spring in the Premier League, and just look at his confidence in the last matches. Crystal Palace is one of the best teams in the Premier League right now, and they are collecting 16 points in the last six matches. Only Manchester City has more in this period, and the reason for their top form are the new ideas of Oliver Glasner, who joined them as a manager, the team mid-season, and the comeback of stars as and Michael Olise. Crystal Palace, with them and without them, are completely different teams. By spring, both had recovered from their injuries and finally started playing together. Both are technically skilled and make good decisions, but they are not identical. As focuses more on passing and setting up teammates because he is Barcelona Canterano, while Olise, who isn't selfish either, tends to take more individual actions, and he's so confident that he has something, sometimes ignores his teammates who are open in the box and begging for a pass. Why? Mm, Here for his signature move of cutting inside and shooting towards the far post. Last week, the kind of play by Olise troubled Manchester United, and this weekend, it was Wolves who suffered. With one match remaining, Michael has 15 goals contributions per 90 minutes. Olise is the best in the league in these metrics. 1.06 per match. That's really a lot. It seems that in the summer, a long line of buyers will form at Palace's office. The second point of our today's speech is about Tottenham centre backs, Romero and Van de Ven, who are the most entertaining centre back pair in England, and that's for sure. In the first part of the season, the pairing of Christian Romero and Mickey van de Ven received a lot of praise for their reliability. Both are extremely aggressive and fast. With such a pair, it's much easier to play a bold style of football which involves a high defensive line and offside traps, as Postecoglou insists on. They couldn't maintain a high level throughout the whole season. Both were out due to injuries, often having to play alongside a nominal fullbacks. By the end of the season, the team started to falter, and the defense midfielders are ending the season in poor form. The fun spread to the center back pair as well. They are. Romero began making runs into the opponent's box, usually after pressing situations, but not only. A couple of weeks ago, he scored against Arsenal this way, and this weekend he made a run against Burnley, which luckily didn't end with a goal, or unluckily from Spurs' side. Van de Ven doesn't go so much runs, but towards the end of the season, Ange even converted him into a left back. The Dutchman has some experience in Germany, but he played this position for the first time at Tottenham, and it worked. Van de Ven not only set up Son with a through ball, but also scored the winning goal after making a run into the opponent's midfield. After a such match against Burnley, Angie hinted that he might try Mickey on the flank more often next season, and it sounds interesting. But what about the Van de Ven and Romero pairing in the center of defense? One more stop, and that's Josko Gvardiol. A true miracle happening right now. The Croatian is replacing Ilkay Gundogan as Manchester City unexpected goal scorer at the end of this season. One detail unites him, it's his attacking runs. Josko has learned to score with his right foot also. His first goal against Fulham casts doubt on the myth that his right foot is weak. During the play, Guardiola made four touches with his right foot, first to penetrate the midfielder, then to control, and finally to shoot. Pep Guardiola explained that he hadn't seen a left footer so comfortable using their right foot for a long time, and according to Guardiola, it's even easier for the Croatian to control the ball with his non dominant foot. Reminds Usman Dembele a bit. Josko's ambidextrity is also useful in playmaking, and thanks to his ability to quickly switch the ball from his left to his right and back, the Croatian can choose multiple options to develop the attack rather than being forced towards the flank. And now we're moving to Germany, where Mainz makes Borussia Dortmund suffer once again. Formally, the match meant nothing for Borussia Dortmund. They secured a place in the Champions League final midweek and had no league objectives left, while Mainz is highly motivated, continuing their fight for survival. But there was context. It was Mainz that didn't lose to Dortmund in the last round of the previous season, preventing Dortmund from becoming German champions. Dortmund players mentioned before the game that they would be motivated, but the result? Mainz won 3-0, with the final score recorded at the 23rd minute. Dortmund players with a second string lineup, with central defender Nico Schlottenberg being the only regular starter. Donald Malen, a regular throughout the season, had recently turned from injury and was gradually regarding the form. Dortmund played poorly. The left back position where Matthew Moreau played was particularly problematic, and Moreau, due to injuries, hadn't played properly since 2021. And in the match review, you can see that Moreau was at fault in two of the three goals conceded. Losing the ball under pressure for the first and creating the perfect corridor for a pass. He was substituted at halftime, and it's hard to consider Moreau is a Bundesliga player anymore. But the problem wasn't just him. Consistently lost the ball under pressure, lost duels and their attacking play with Marco Reus tried to orchestrate. It was not good at all. The thrashing was deserved. Dortmund has a Champions League final to look forward, but Mainz remained unbeaten in both head-to-head matches, drawing 1-1 in the first round. They truly love to make Dortmund suffer. And now we're moving to Spain, just to talk about Real Madrid and the brilliance of Real Madrid's second squad. They had a match against Granada, won 4-0, and this weekend that was the second squad of Madrid. In the case of Real, this all jokes take a specific meaning. Unlike structural teams, Madrid under Ancelotti almost completely reinvents itself under rotation conditions. It's not just a replacement of details, but a new team with different accents, leaders, and tools. This is more interesting because it gives a chance to get to know yet each player of the team excellent. In the usual role, Madrid overloads the left flank and Dani Carvajal opens up in a high position on the right. On one side, Real Madrid combines the opponent, pulls the defense there, and forgets about the decent threat. Goals can come in different ways, but that's the model they play. Sometimes after combinations, sometimes through delivering the ball and isolations. Anyway, against Granada, everything mirrored. Modric, Güler, Diaz, and company overloaded on the right side of the field, while Fran Garcia created a decent threat. Garcia made a goal plus pass, and one of the goals came through an elegant combinations on the right side. The leader of this Real is the divine Brahim Diaz. He has been useful all the season, but in recent games he has been doing Messi like things, with the caveat that he is better with his right. Real Madrid is absolutely brilliant, and it looks like even their second team could be among the best in the world. The next accent should be on Italy, where Allegri definitely prepares Juventus for Motta arrival. Juve has been practicing positional exchanges since the beginning of the season, and the match against Salernitana, it was 1-1, was a peak demonstration of the concept. Lateral Cambiasso played all over the field, central midfielder McKinney hardly appeared in the center, and left eight. Rabiot sometimes found himself on the right wing. A third of the touches before the 15th minute were made by Dusan Vlahovic on the right edge, and this didn't look a coincidence. Forward spread out, leaving a finishing zone for connections from unexpected areas. It's curious not just the adaptation to a specific opponent, but the presence of the Serb on the flank itself. In previous rounds, Allegri had already used him closer to the edge, but always in the last minutes when saving another match with the number of attackers. This weekend, he tried shifting from the first minute, and it's interesting in terms of most likely Thiago Motta arrival that is almost resolved. If we project Bologna's role distribution onto today's Juventus, two potential problems occur. Bremer in the center and Vlahovic at the tip. Both are solvable, and one seems big and the other one seems not so likely to appear. However, Motta's system, all central players are off online, freely exciting along the entire vertical, and Dusan Vlahovic is not Zirkzee. He is not strong with his back to the goal, ineffective ways from the tip, and not very good in tight zones. Vlahovic as a winger is an elegant solution to the problem. Motta's wing players are more fixed to their positions, much more often work with space and are brought to the edge. The right winger is something like a hybrid between a finisher and a flank player, and in general, it's not so much fantasy and it's tactical science fiction. On the other thing is that it's naive to assume that Motta will simply duplicate Bologna's model football in Turin. We'll see. And of course, there were two extremely important matches in the British Premier League in the past few days, but we will talk about them in a separate video. See you.